this is their last chance. So they're not going to throw the ball far, so somebody has to run it through. So they give the person the football. The person gets the ball. Now basically all the stakes are on this person's back. And even while I'm thinking this, I'm reminded of Nemo. Isn't that a great father-son relationship there? I'll bring up my point about Nemo here, but anyways, so the football player takes the ball, runs through basically focus, drive, motivation, adrenaline, and has a goal and achieves the goal. When you talk about male energy, a lot of that comes from, that analogy. Hence, when a boy is in high school or a boy is in university, they might not have any goals. What are you doing in high school? They're like, whatever. Calculus. What are you going to study in university? What are you guys doing? Engineering. No, engineering is good. Engineering is good. I'm just talking about, it doesn't matter what but that's different than somebody who knows what they're after, right? With drive and motivation, this is what I'm going to do. Hence, for the brothers that are all like whining all the time about why sisters always want to marry doctors, or at least their parents want doctors. Any doctors here? Okay. Let's look at the medical profession. It is difficult to get in. Hence, the person has to have immense drive. The fact that they got high marks, the fact that they got into med school, the fact that they work long hours, the fact that, all of these things, you put them together, somebody can recognize that a man has to go through that. Hence, there's this allure of, we want to marry doctors in the society. What other profession are like parents? They're not necessarily sisters looking for this, but parents at least. Other professions that they're looking for? Okay, lawyers, maybe more in Canada, lawyers. Around the world, not necessarily so much lawyers, but engineers. Because engineers, same idea. You have to have high marks, you have to have drive, motivation, get through obstacles, blah, 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 in order to get to that level. You guys want me to tell you about the Finding Nemo thing? The Nemo? What lesson do we learn from Nemo? What can Nemo teach us about marriage? There's a part in Finding Nemo, and I tell you this, I'm almost kind of like shy to tell you this, but I cried at it. I'll tell you why I cried. It was a part at the end that his father had spent so much time, the whole movie basically, he's trying to find his son, that little Nemo kid, right, that clownfish, and then when he finally finds him, this little fish has a higher purpose. To do what? Save the tuna. Right? Aren't the tunas basically they're being pulled up in this net? A bunch of like Muslim tuna basically just being pulled up in the net. And they're so powerful, they're so strong. And then this little boy he says, Dad, we don't have any time. Right? It gives me shivers even think about that. Male recognizes male energy. We recognize what this child is, what this little boy is capable of. There's a higher purpose. Okay, this is family. And then even his father said, no, after all this time, I won't let you go. But Nemo says, no, there's no time for that right now. So he goes in amongst the salmon. Was it salmon or tuna? I believe it was tuna. And he tells all of them to unify. To be unified, because with unification comes strength. And he said all of them swim downwards. Right? All the tuna swim downward and they escape. And almost that little Nemo kid got killed in the process of doing that. Alhamdulillah, he was saved. If you're looking for an example of what I'm talking about, that's a great example right there. A very dramatic example. And you'll see things like that. In fact, almost you see most of the movies that come out are usually like men trying, somebody trying to act like a man, like a He-Man type of thing. Boys trying to look up to or see those type of examples. Let me not get into it. Let me give you a technique. For the brothers here, how many brothers are married from the brothers are here? Prospect. There's a lesson about leadership, and this is very important actually. It applies for male and female. It applies especially for the future husband, future father. It applies to your MSA. It applies to any type of dawah organization that you're going to work on later in your life and so on and so forth. Have you noticed how when people get married, they kind of like drop off of the dawah scene? Have you noticed that? How many people have noticed that? Like somebody was active in masjid, dawah, stuff like that, and they get married and boom, they're gone. Mission accomplished. Okay, so leadership from the back, leadership from the front. Let's imagine that a group of people, they're going out on an expedition. Okay? They're going out on an expedition, and the tour group that's taking them out on the group, they have two leaders. One is leading from the front, telling the people, follow me. And the other one is leading from the back, saying, let's keep up with the group, making sure nobody falls behind. They're both leaders, yet they have different skills. So the leader from the front, if you took away the leader from the back, take away the leader from the back, this leader from the front will just keep on walking and say, come on, let's go left, right here, let's go here, blah, blah, blah. And the people in the back will resent the leader from the front, if there's no leader from the back. In other words, they'll doesn't even ask our shura, doesn't do shura with us. And you see women, even though they complain about their husbands, sometimes they're like, who does he think he is? He's like, he doesn't include me, doesn't ask my permission, just like you're inviting people over for pizza. What is up? What's up with that? Okay? So this could be a man, this might be like a man leading from the front, yet he messes up. Leading from the back. Okay? But leading from the back is really more of our problem here. So let's take away, I'll give you an example. I was in Hajj time, and I was walking with the group through all these crowds, and then when I went through a tunnel, I walked very quickly through the tunnel, long tunnel, maybe a 30-minute walk tunnel, to get to the other side so that I could make sure I'd be ahead of anybody in the group so I can collect them, basically. By the time one of them caught up to me, he said to me a beautiful statement. This is what happens when you only lead from the front. He said, if you want to go by yourself, why don't you just go? Okay? Hence, the person who leads from the front, that's the type of resentment you get for making decisions. Now, I'm telling you to make decisions, and you do need to be a leader like that, but this is what happens when you don't have the other side of it. The other side. The other side is, and this also applies to women, I'll bring it to the marriage thing, but this will also apply to women as well. Both leader from the back and leader from the front. Leadership from the back is basically like shura. What time would you like to start? What time would you like to finish? You guys don't pay, or blah blah blah. And everybody's like, wow, he's including us. And somebody makes a bad decision, it's alright, pat, appreciative, that kind of thing. Problem with that person is that they're not decisive. They're not decisive. In other words, let's suppose I hire somebody and they're like, Muhammad, what do you think about this poster that I made? Like, I don't care, man, just do it. What do you think? They keep going around, every small thing, always asking permission from people. Always talking to do this. Like too much talk, and that person will get bumped because they're not decisive. And even think to yourself in your life, who is like that? Sometimes it might be somebody in your family that's just basically, they're just so passive. They're like, whatever happens, they make no decisions. This is the type of person you say, what would you like from the restaurant? And they're like, whatever. They're just like, no, just tell me what you want. Lead from the front and just say, get me a bagel, cream cheese, make it, whole wheat, and that's it. That's all I need. But you're like, no, whatever. And hence, you can get the frustration coming from leadership from the back as well. Now let's look at a marriage. Marriage, husband leading from the front. An example of a husband leading from the front, or you gave me an example, would be the person who is a dictator. Women would describe a husband like that as, what would you describe him as? Tyrant, bully. Who does he think he is? Right? Never comes home, just goes into the Okay. Now, leader from the back. Let's suppose you have a husband who's just leading from the back. In other words, he's always telling his wife, "So honey, what do you think?" Always. What would the woman think of this?